Okay, I'd like to invite everyone to stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. Welcome, everyone, to the February 16, 2022 meeting. Do we have an approval of the minutes of February the 2nd?
I make a motion that we so approve.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion on those minutes? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Financial report and payment of the bills.
So moved.
We have a motion
Second.
and a second. Any discussion on the financial report? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Alrighty, I wanted to mention that Jean is absent today, and it was an excused absence. Okay, Lou, you're on.
Okay, first item I have is the disposal of surplus property. We're declaring 4 vehicles as surplus, and we'll sell those at Ritchie Brothers at auction. And I would ask the board to approve Resolution R2 2022 for the disposal of these 4 vehicles.
Very good. I saw the email that you sent out of the 4 vehicles. Do we have a motion to accept Resolution R2-2022?
So moved.
We have a motion
Second.
and a second. Any discussion on that?
Well, where are the 4 vehicles?
Oh, I thought you had the list.
Yes, there's, you should have a copy of the resolution in front of you.
Yeah,
It's a list of previous administration vehicle, and it's,
There has a list right here because we had to sign
There
off,
it
so
is.
he can just go ahead and take a sign at the desk.
Okay, I'll tell you what they are. We had a 2002 Ford Expedition. We have a 2012 Dodge Charger, a 2012 Dodge Charger, and a 2008 Ford Crown Vic.
The last 3 are police vehicles. Were police vehicles.
The only comment that I would make is they're bringing certainly quite a bit of dollars at the auction right now.
Sure.
And they've almost ate up their service. Any other questions, Rob?
No, thank you.
All right, hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Now, the other thing is the memorandum of understanding with the, our agreement with the Department of Human Services. So the local Department of Social Services can pay water and sewer bills. You want to comment on that, Stephen?
Yes, this is allowing, this is a federal grant through the state of Maryland to allow people who are behind in their water and sewer bills and meet income guidelines, and they can apply to our local social services in order to get some relief or to be paid on their behalf. So it's a memorandum of understanding. Draft form could still has to be approved by our council and then approved by the Maryland Department of Human Resources, because they will sign off on it too. So it's just, there's no commitment on our part, there's no match required on our part. It's just to allow our citizens who are in trouble of not being able to meet their water and sewer bills apply to social services who will then get in touch with us for the billing information.
Steve, do you want us to do a motion on the memorandum of understanding based on this language, or what do you think?
I think there be an approval, but pending input back from Department of Human Resources. Am I not correct, Michelle?
yes.
That we have not heard from them yet.
Very good.
And there may be some further tweaking of the language, but again, there's no commitment on the town's part, just offering an option to the citizens who are having difficulty with their water and sewer bills.
So there's no certainty, or it is just an assumption that they're going to get help from a different resource for their...
Well, when someone comes in with difficulty with their water and sewer bill, we have currently been pointing them to social services, as this will continue to be, and also to Immaculate Conception and Good Shepherd Church. They've been assisting, offering assistance for water there's really no different effort on our part, or requirement on our part. It's just it's a funding source that the state of Maryland is using that requires that somebody use between the town and the state.
So there's also the possibility that a funding source can be denied for each
Oh, absolutely, there's no
individual.
guarantee, there's guidelines that have to be met by the applicant.
So what's going to be the option if they can't meet it?
I guess I'd reach out to one of the two churches I just named, Good Shepherd and Immaculate Conception.
And that's what I'm saying.
If the then can't be met, well, we, in limited circumstances, we do offer a payment plan, but if there's non-payment, then that would be a cause for a shut-off.
Because I know the good, the resources you just mentioned, they do help people, not only for water, but a lot of things.
Right, with rent.
And certainly they're welcome when dry, and that's why I asked what would be the next option in case that did. It'd be something on your part, then you have to be more in the mix. I guess giving them another option like payments or something like that.
Right, well, like I said, we offer payment plan in certain situations, and between the three funding sources and payment plans, and that's all we've offered so far. We've not waived anything. We've adjusted bills if we have information to indicate that that would be needed, but again, those are the options that we have.
Do you have
We've never just waived the
do you have indicated number of people that might be in that pool of?
No, I don't have that
The
here.
Department of Social Services will provide a list to finance of eligible recipients, and that's what he would work with.
Okay.
They have to meet either a 80 or a 50% median income threshold to qualify. I know
Okay.
that.
Yeah, they would have to get with the finance office to see what exactly the arrearages are and what the bill is and so on and so forth.
Thank you, hope they can meet it, to help them. Thanks.
No, you're welcome.
So I would say
I want to
that,
could I mention one thing? One
Yes.
thing about this agreement that the board should understand is that the Department of Social Services will not reimburse or pay directly to people who incur water or sewer bills. It's paid directly to the town. So, you know, somebody can't go out and run up a bill and then they get money and reimbursed. They won't pay under this agreement for that. Only they pay just the town for the
That's
qualified
directly
amount.
to the town. That's correct.
Yeah,
And the property owner has to apply.
yeah.
well, listen, I know that there was some tweaking in the language that we did, and we sent it back to the Maryland Department of Human Resources. So I'd say let's make a motion to accept the memorandum of understanding and contingent upon them coming back with a favorable.
Of Human Services, yeah.
Yeah. We have a motion to accept that?
So moved.
We got a motion
Second.
and a second. Any discussion on that? Hearing none? All in favor? Aye. Very good.
Those are the items I had, the agenda.
Well, we got, I don't have a tremendous amount, but I was kind of waiting until John Downs called about 30 minutes ago, and he was still in circuit court. So I'm going to kind of delay as much as I can to see if we can get him to come in here. But before we talk about the ARPA money. But this morning I sent out an email, and I know that we're working on it, and there's no question, I know we're working on it. As you go up to Liberty Hill, up Red Hill on the left-hand side, there's it appears that it's a growing campground up there on the left. Here comes John Downs. There's a growing campground up on the left-hand side, and I know that we've been sending not only police services out there, but also I know there's been 911 services out there. But, you know, I would say that some of the collateral effect of this campground that's not allowed by any zoning ordinance that I'm aware of in our town, but the individuals are marching through the adjoining neighborhood in the evening hours. And this really came to light during the last snow event. During the last snow event, there was, you could see specifically where the tracks were coming from out of the woods to that area where, and when I say campground, there's like 2 or 3 motorhomes that's there. It's not tents anymore. It's not a homeless tent. Now, the challenges that we're having is that the land was acquired, I think, at a tax sale. And then not only was it acquired at a tax sale, but the individual that acquired it, I believe, and I may be speaking out of turn, and I do apologize, but I don't think that he is available for contact right now. Let me just put it that way. And my understanding is going to go back up for tax sale again, is what I just recently heard. So we have a property up there that currently we have no way that we can contact the owner of the parcel to get him to post this property. Now, I think that Chip was telling me that Lisa's working on a petition to make this a nuisance property and remove these individuals. What I'm asking is let's get it done as quickly as we can. I know that we have a judge that actually lives in that area. If I have to take it to him and ask him to hand sign something, I don't know if that's a process, you see that on TV all the time. But listen, if there's anything that we can do, it's getting out of control up there. It truly is getting out of control, and I just don't know what our option. I know we're working on all of our options, but we need to get it done.
Rob, I read that email just before I came here. I was really not aware of it. Now, is this a legitimate campground? I know it's against our ordinances. You're not talking about a homeless encampment.
No, they're trespassing. No, it is a homeless, it's a homeless encampment with motorhomes, but they're trespassing.
Okay, well, it sounds like we can deal with that. Now, you say this property
But
is...
someone has to report that they're trespassing.
True.
You follow what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, so our challenge is that the owner of the parcel, which is in limbo, isn't complaining about these motorhomes being parked in his woods.
You say that it's getting ready to go back up for tax sale?
It is.
What do you think about the town buying it, cleaning it up and flipping it?
That parcel will be millions. It's Liberty Hill. There's already about 100 approved lots on that parcel.
It's recorded.
It's recorded. It's recorded
So
lots.
it'd be very, very millions, is right.
It really is millions.
Sounds like you can make us money in the
But I
end.
have spoke to people that are looking at buying that at tax sale. I think we'll get some movement on it, but it's not helping the residents of the adjoining neighborhood, whether down below at Far Creek or even a little bit going into the back of Patriots Glen. That's the challenge we have. Unless, John, you can look at our ordinance and tell me what we can do internally, and I would almost like to go up there and just tell them they gotta leave. Why can't we?
Well, the issue isn't telling them to leave. It's not against the law to tell somebody to leave. But if you arrest them for being there, then you might have an issue with court. You know, without
And I know we
without
went
posted trespassing and all that. You know.
and I don't think that we can get permission to post that land unless we get the court order. Is that correct? Is that how the thinking
No,
goes here?
where's that?
Yeah, I only just became aware of that.
Yeah.
I recently spoke to the chief,
I know Lisa's working on
Yeah,
it.
Lisa's working on it, and that probably is the fastest path at this point, is to let her go ahead and continue to proceed with that and get the nuisance declared and proceed accordingly.
So I guess the back part of my question or comment would be, Lou, I'm asking you to ask the police department to patrol that area, maybe a little bit more in the backside of the Patriots Glen area, because they're telling me that they are coming through there in the evenings, and we've gone through this many times. It's the nuisance crimes they're gonna continue to break into someone's car, they're gonna take their change, and then they go back into their facility. But at some point, what I'm more worried about is today, someone's gonna protect their property, because they see it. They know it's coming, and my concern is what actions the homeowner may take to protect themselves and to protect their property. It is, it truly is. So I'd like for us to see if we can be a little more proactive in that area. I don't know if it's gonna help, but we're doing everything that we can do from our end. And I think that's the main thing. I wanted to bring up, John, I'm glad you made it, and I don't think that we'll have to go into a closed meeting today about the ARPA money, and I know that you've attended a couple of the seminars, and I don't know if you've got any specific answers for us yet at this point, but I do have a new scenario, and maybe it can or cannot work for us. You know, we have Steve Hoare here with Steve, I'm assuming you're still the president of the Singerly Fire Company?
Just me, yeah.
All right.
Last week.
I know last week was the elections, and I wasn't sure. But we have our president of the Singerly Fire Company here, and we really do appreciate everything Singerly Fire Company does for our community. I mean, it's when you see, it takes a special person to serve the public in that manner, and it means a lot. I know, speaking for everyone in the town, and hopefully I'm speaking for everyone on the board, I know we are, it means a lot to us.
Yeah, and we appreciate the support from the town,
Yeah.
you know, especially last year with moving up the one allotment, and that helped a lot.
Yeah, and once again, we want to do more because we know what's happening. I think everyone up here realizes that the cost of goods is going up, the amount of calls are going up. We've been through the PowerPoint presentation, we've seen it all. So I guess my new scenario, by just talking here prior to the meeting, Singerly Fire Company has a engine on order, and they also have a ambulance on order. And the county will also give them some funding back on both of those, but out of pocket, Singerly will have to contribute out of pocket about $200,000 for the engine and about $150,000, $160,000 for the
Actually,
ambulance.
probably right around 200 for that by the time it's equipped.
About $200,000 for the ambulance. My question is, if they submitted us the bill, could that be used to pay for that, paid for out of the ARPA funding? Would that make it cleaner, clearer?
I don't know that it makes it any cleaner. I think the answer is, in all likelihood, yes. But you get those reporting requirements and stuff that are multiple levels of reporting, that there may be some other ways around that.
Would this make it easier to account for? If we earmark it specifically for the acquisitions of the ambulance and the engine?
Yeah, there's a balance on each, and then there's the money to equip it. Usually what happens is there's another $100,000 for an engine by the time you put the hose and the ladders and everything on it. And the ambulance is some of the other equipment, obviously.
I would very much like to get a definitive answer whether they would be treated as a sub-grantee.
But I think that's the issue. I think they would.
Right.
I think they would be treated as sub-grantee,
Right.
and then
And the monitoring required that goes with that.
I think some of the other options that I discussed with you might be a cleaner way to go, but not to say that, I mean, I think there's something that can be done.
Well, I guess what Mike, we've discussed it, and I know that this, I know we're not getting a definite answer. I know that's the challenge that we keep getting. Do we believe that, help me understand what that sub-grantee means?
Well, we would be the grantee, they would be the sub-grantee, then our responsibility would be to monitor the sub-grantee's expenditures, and which would be requiring to understand their internal controls, their procedures, if it was it I don't know, with bid, you had procurement policies that were they followed, whether that be advertised or those types of things, so, and so we would be required to, in fact, it's all back in audit, it's like in any audit in a way. I don't know if there would be, it does sound like this would be involved in the labor issues, but, and the payments made.
Yeah, we currently do that type of accounting for the Senate bill, the Amos Fund,
Right,
508.
Right.
What the town gives us in the county, documenting all the purchases, and there's specific things that you know and spend that money on.
Right. But there has to be an understanding again of the policies and procedures within Singer League, and they being met with the use of this money that will be passing through the town to the Singer League.
So if they were given the grant, they couldn't monitor itself and whatever expenses that occurred would be sent to the town, because I do remember email that Lewis sent, and he certainly approved of what would happen, but on the opposite hand, he didn't know if he would have personnel here to monitor the funds. So I'm just looking and looking at the middle of the grant. Would it be easier for them to do it? And I don't know what the language would say when it comes to the funding.
You mean the Singer League would do the monitoring?
I don't think you can
No,
monitor
no,
yourself.
you can't monitor yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah. It would be our responsibility.
And that's what I'm asking right now, that is a grant that we're giving to them, so you're saying we are responsible,
If it came through us, that's correct, we would have to perform
but
those duties.
didn't know if there would be a trade-off on that as well.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
The funds that have been received from Cecil County, do you know the parameters under which those funds were received?
Well, we haven't received them yet. Once you show them the title, then they'll reimburse you for that. The county, for example, the county for an engine gives $325,000 as part of an agreement they have with the Cecil County Farmers Association. Each year they fund so much.
Are you
And
talking about the
that-
Amos money or the ARPA money?
No, just
This
very
is-
specifically, it doesn't matter, and what I'm asking, and you just answered it, there's no grant involved, there's no agreement between the county and the Firemen's Association to reimburse, I think that's our key word, to reimburse.
There's
Yeah.
a budget each year that
Yes.
the county gives for the volunteer fire companies in the county.
Right,
And there's a lineup of, we're in order based on when you got your request in for an engine or an ambulance.
Yes.
They've been throwing anywhere between $500 and $1 million a year towards that account.
okay,
Once that money's chewed up, then the next will have to wait, whoever's in line next has to wait until the following year. But you
Understood.
specifically have to spend that money, and you know up front, a lot of times people aren't even gonna order it unless they know they're gonna get that money.
sure.
It's tied into that, but the actual funding comes in to the individual fire departments once they show evidence of title.
And-
That's not ARPA money.
And I understand, and I appreciate that. So the next question is, and I don't know if you would know this answer, but for the southern part of the county, an ambulance was recently purchased, just as an addition to their fleet, I think. Do you know if that was, and would you know if that was handled as a grant or a reimbursement or a donation?
That I'm not sure.
Okay, because that might be the thing to follow.
And by the way, that ambulance, even though publicly it was announced it was for the bottom part of the county.
Yes.
It could serve at Elkton.
Oh, I
Say if we
understand.
have the 5th call, which we have a lot
I
during the
appreciate
day,
that.
they might even take that.
Okay, all right.
But we also have grants that, and we're working with one right now for some tooling, about a $200,000 grant, and the way that works, and it's a government grant under FEMA. And once we get the, first of all, you apply for it, they approve it. And when we get the, whatever it is we bought in, we send them a copy of the invoice or the packing stuff, and then they reimburse the funds right there. So you get reimbursed as you purchase, and if you don't show evidence of purchasing it, you don't get it.
I understand. And that's what I'm trying to get, just a simple definitive answer, as instead of doing a grant funding or anything, or having to monitor a purchase or anything, can we do it just simply pay the balance, there's the invoice, there's our proof of having paid off that balance, and that's the end of it. That's what I'm.
Well, in that case, you're the grantee.
But it's not a grant.
No, if you're applying for a grant from the federal government, that's a grant.
Well, that we are.
Yeah, and they're the grantee.
Yeah,
But it would be passing through us, we would be the grantee. If we then pass on to them, we would be required to monitor how they expended the funds.
unless it was, and I don't want to go off on the side thing, but the whole point is unless it was just strictly from that 10 million in the general fund that you
Well,
could use
then
just
that's-
do that and just pay it that way, just like you do other.
And that's what I was alluding to.
Right.
I don't know that avoids that
And
ordinance.
I'm not sure how that, that standard
Okay.
allowance we're talking about, where
I think
it
that's
can be
different.
used for,
Okay.
if we're taking it, well, yeah.
What you can
It's
use it
also
for is
moving
one thing.
parts here.
The reporting requirements and the auditing requirements are a different thing. Okay, you can use it for a lot of stuff. You know, but, and could you do this? Arguably, yes. But the reporting requirements don't go away because you can use it for that. You just, all
We
this
just
stuff.
have to do an audit.
Yeah.
Well, listen, we've been going back and forth for months, and I know we don't really have any firm answers, but I would say this, that part of it is because we haven't put anyone, we haven't designated, or we haven't moved forward with any type of action on any of the ARPA funds. So, listen, quite frankly, I'm going to ask the board we're going to make a motion to designate $500,000 of the ARPA funds for Singerly Fire Company. And I'm going to ask the board, I'm going to ask staff to manage it in a way that we can make this happen in a timely fashion. I don't think we've never made an actual vote to designate those funds. So we're designating, so I'm asking the board for a motion to designate $500,000 of the ARPA funding for Singerly Fire Company. And we're going to work this out internally to make sure we follow all the guidelines that the federal government has put in front of us to get that funding to Singerly Fire Company. Do we have a motion on that?
So move.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion with that? John, should I add something to that motion, or is it just designating that money to, I'm looking for help if we have to have help there.
Yeah, can we say for equipment for the benefit of Singerly Fire Company?
I would be fine. Are you all right to amend
I'm,
that?
I'm with that, yes.
Yep. I think that preserves a variety of options, gets them what they need, and we can address these things, because they are going to continue to become more clear. I mentioned last time we talked about it, that the Treasury is supposed to be issuing additional direction.
I think it's important that Singerly sees that we're committed to this.
Yeah.
Okay, we had a motion, second. Any more discussion?
Well, not only are we committed, it's just basically been a long time, and if you continue to go in the direction that we're going, it's going to be even longer. But, you know, we're trying to nip it as much as we can right now, at least get it off the ground.
I gotta ask a question for clarity. The board authorizing $500,000 for Singerly Fire Company, are you authorizing the disbursement of that money consistent with the guidelines that we follow? Or does it have to come back to the board for disbursement again?
Or you write the check that has to be approved for that meeting.
Well, that's what I'm saying. So it's, it'll come back again.
Yeah, it would come back once you figure out how to disperse it,
Okay.
right? And we'll accept it in the financial report and payment of the bills, right? Very good. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
That was the
That's a
wording.
big win.
Much
That was the
appreciated.
wording that I had offered? That-
Yes.
Okay, good, good. That preserves flexibility and still accomplishes what you need.
Yeah, I think so. Listen, we needed to do that. It was important for our community, and
Important to the community in terms of safety.
Absolutely.
Definitely so.
all right.
Yeah, we just put together the statistics for last year. Actually, we're working on a report that Sam will probably be bringing to your next meeting, but it's going up all the time. And that money will definitely help us kind of stave off the alligator, so to speak.
You know, over the years, we had members of the fire company that were part of our town board. And you know, I feel bad about making that motion without Jean here, because I know that she cares a lot about the Singerly Fire Company. I know she goes to a lot of the functions where I don't really attend as many. But during the last couple of years, I have to tell you, it's been very enlightening to me to see the action that is happening here, and not only the Elkton 21921 area code, but specifically in the town of Elkton. And I know that every call that you guys are on, we send a car in most cases along with it. So it's amazing the amount of work that our men and women in uniform of all sizes, they're all I would say colors of the uniform, are doing. It's amazing. Okay, I have nothing else to report. Charles?
Yes, with the board's approval, next Wednesday, the 23rd, I'd like to block Bethel Street off for about an hour. So Dan, if you're on, we'd like to have some, what do you call them, barricades at the Melbourne Bethel and Booth Street Bethel. Should be for an hour. They're gonna have the celebration for the transition of the Elkton Color School. And I don't know whether any of you got agendas or not. Certainly you are invited. I know, Mayor, you on the program to be one of the speakers, and certainly the town of Elkton has been very, very great in making this happen. So it'd be nice if everyone is there, because I'm quite sure the mayor would point you out if you're there.
That's
And
right.
that's basically it.
And was that at 11 o'clock?
10 o'clock.
10 o'clock. So 10 o'clock next Wednesday, we want to get that street cut closed off. I know it's going to be a major event. I think we've got some of the, we're hoping to have some of the TV cameras.
By the cameras, it's been a great number of invitations from all around.
This is a very proud moment for our town to do that actual ceremonial deed signing.
Right.
Where will the ceremony be held?
It's going to have it right as you come out of the side entrance to the church, and where the, what's it called, the maintenance building is, it's on that street side.
On
because-
Bethel Street?
Yes,
Okay, got it.
because actually there was a door there to that school many, many, many moons ago, and that's where they decided to have it.
Charles, which church is that?
It's Wright's Church.
Wright's Church, right on High Street.
No,
Booth Street.
Booth Street. Make the left turn and go down and you'll see.
High Street's Providence Church.
Wright's Church, okay.
Right.
That's around, right. Okay, I got you. I'll be there.
Perfect. Looking forward to that. Anything else, sir?
No, to the chief of police, you know, I've been to a lot of basketball games because we play on the road, and certainly each of those activities usually has a officer or two in existence, and I always kid them, telling them that, you know, you can come to Elkton if you want, we're looking for police, but, you know, they seem to be content. A lot of those officers actually know people in Cecil County. But the one thing is that, you know, everybody, police is across the nations, and we're about, everybody's in that same boat, praying and helping that each other can, you know, can paddle the canoe. So just want to let you know that we're doing the same thing that they're doing, and thank you for the job that you continue to do.
Thank you, sir.
I'm done.
Thank you, Charles. Earl? Robert?
I have nothing this week.
Very good. Chief, you have anything for the good of the town? I put you on the
Sorry,
spot. See,
you did.
I've never asked
Sorry.
like that. I thought we were moving along pretty well.
We
Well,
were.
listen, you had a great comment about the ulcers the other day. I mean, there's always good stuff.
Yes, so there is. I just apologize for being late. I just left the chief of police meeting where the local chiefs and the sheriff get together with the state's attorney's office and find out kind of what's going on. So that was my delay. No, I can't think of anything.
Very
to
good.
share with you right now.
John? Lewis, anything else?
According to my weather app, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, and Friday next week is going to be all rain.
Well, you know, I've been telling my pastor about that as well,
I
because
didn't know if
we
you
do
were
got to
gonna-
look at an alternative, and I'll remind him again about that.
I have a
I didn't know if
tent.
there was Plan B for rain or.
I have a tent as long as I can drive into the grass. I don't think it's all, is it all macadam?
pretty much macadam ranch.
So we could probably, I think I know someone who has a tent that you don't need to drive it in. So maybe we could, if we need that.
I'll
let me
pitch
know.
that on to him, yes.
Very good. Steve, anything for the good of the town?
No, nothing.
All right. Steve, Cora, anything today?
Again, thank you. And something I want to point out too, in addition to the almost 300 volunteers, we also are an employer in the town of Elkton, 17 full-time people and about 25 part-time people. So that contributes to the economy, and I believe, few of them actually live in town. So it's grown a lot in the past 47 years I've been involved with it. And
It has.
as you know, it's continuing to grow, and we're needed. And we work hand in hand with the police department, and we appreciate all your support too.
Well, let me ask you a point question. I know a lot of times when an emergency vehicle go out, and I know it could be down the street, it could be a mile, it could be 2 miles. And you sometimes hear people who had to use them talk about the cost. Obviously, I guess that cost is embedded into your equipment and everything else that you do.
Yeah, actually, our audit and financial statements for last year revealed an interesting point. Most of when people think and donate to the fire department, you think of fire, but it's also that ambulance. You want that ambulance to be there. And the majority of our cost is to support the ambulance service. And I think we pointed out a few times in some presentations, the EMS service, just in the town of Elkton, is about 60% of what we do. And it clusters, especially in the daytime, because the county and the state people all come to the town. It just grows from there exponentially. But yeah, we definitely can use that funding, and it's definitely there's a cost. And I actually worked up a number one time that an EMS call is $500 a call. We do get reimbursed. We bill roughly around $4 million a year, and on a good year we receive about, like last year, about $1.25 million. We're hoping to get at least that much this year, but our career services payroll this year is now grown to about $1.7 million. So we got a gap in there, about $400,000 that's thrown out of other funds. Well, the funding that we're just talking about covers the other things. We're going to be even at least this year, hoping that we can get more out of that. John, payee for our EMS service is Medicare, and I think most people realize Medicare has specific amounts they pay. We can bill $900 for a call all we want, but we're only going to get $3 something. And once it's approved, Medicaid is another payer. It's interesting, only about 10% of all the funding or money we get for EMS services is actual private insurance. The majority is that. And I think it's the same thing Union was probably faced with before they sold that. Most of their money came from Medicare, these controlled programs. So that's part of the challenge too. We see that in a lot of cases. Some of the calls, especially with the opioid crisis and even the pandemic. But you provide the service and it's costing you this, but you're only getting maybe half of it back. That is a fact.
It makes it tough.
Yeah.
And there is one thing I forgot, and I don't mean to forget it. I saw Jim Krause on Sunday evening, rode up there for about 20 minutes, spoke to him. He's doing fine.
Good.
And he was one of those guys who mentioned that he's getting all the services he needs at Calvert, but he said he had to go to see his doctor, probably a few miles, for $120. I guess he had to pay that himself. I don't think the insurance did that. And that's one reason why I asked you that.
And a lot of times what they'll do is they'll call the fire company to make that transport at times. We've seen that here locally, and it's not the right way to go.
Right.
Well, listen, it's the time of the meeting.
Krause is at Calvert,
He's at Calvert, yes.
because Dan Hanley's daughter works there as a nurse.
Right, and the strange thing, I don't want to take time away from it, I walked into Calvert, I looked to my left, I see Jesse Boyd's wife. And so I go to the hallway to see Jim Krause. Jim Krause told me that she had visited him in that same place, and she fell down and hurt herself, and ended up going into Calvert. When I was leaving, I stopped to see her for the last time, And she said, you know why I'm here? I'm here because I visited Jim Krause and I fell down and hurt myself. Neither one knew that the other was in the same place right
They didn't know.
No. Interesting.
Isn't that interesting? Oh, that's funny. Well, this is time of the meeting. We open up the floor for anyone who has anything for the good of the town. I'm looking at the Zoom meeting. Is there anyone that has anything that they want to bring up to the town of Elkton? Hearing none, meeting adjourned.